In preparation for future updates, we will begin intermittently testing 150 players across standard battle royale playlists. Wow.
Let's go.
We will be closely monitoring player feedback, performance, and overall impact on match flow over the coming weeks. Now, this is really cool, and I want to show you guys something live from the field right after this update went live. We're live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast, episode number 499 plus one. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today I'm joined by Tanner.
Yep.
Who's getting frontiered. He's a frontiersman.
Don't ever
don't
say
know.
that again.
Yeah, I apologize. I take that back.
Yeah.
And we have an episode for you. We got 2 episodes in a row for you, actually.
Wow.
So today we have some big, gigantic news. And Saturday, we have a big, gigantic episode. So we got some fun stuff to talk about, mainly around Verdansk. We also have some announcements, so stick around for the end of the show if you're interested in that. And as a quick reminder, once again, EP 500 will be Saturday night. And I ain't got no body. Shout out Cat Stevens at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Be there. About 6 p.m. Pacific time. Be there. It'll be fun.
Sometime, yeah.
We'll talk about that more at the end of the program. So for now, we have some fun and exciting stuff to get into. Unfortunately, before that, we have an obligation to go over patch notes for the current game in its current state, which are neither fun nor exciting, probably. So let's see. We did get a couple of patches this absolute week. We got a change on the 21st. So I'm looking at that first for multiplayer. And it's a gigantic skip. Don't care. And then we got an update again yesterday. That's also just some bug fixes and stuff. You can use recoil springs on the Jackal in ranked multi now. So that's interesting. And then some other little changes, nothing super serious there. And now into the Warzone patch notes. So once again, we got one on the 21st. And this is maybe somewhat relevant. A lot of the weapon buffs they had said they had done when Season 2 Reloaded launched didn't actually go through. So on the 21st, they actually fixed it. So they all went through. So the weapon balance they originally said is now in place. Mountaineer now should also work as intended. It doesn't, but we'll get into that. And then some bug fixes. And I feel like we've gone over most of this stuff by now. So
We have, yeah.
Yeah. Let's now go to the 26th. Just a couple other bug fixes. This was yesterday for Warzone. Fixed an issue where replacing the custom perk pack that had the Mountaineer perk caused the dropped pack to lose the perk completely.
Yeah.
So this is a fun and exciting issue where Mountaineer started working, but if you died and re-picked up your perk package that had Mountaineer on it, it would actually not have Mountaineer on it anymore.
Can't do anything.
The devs can't do anything. So they've said they fixed this bug.
Yep.
Let me be clear. They may or may not have actually fixed this bug. I don't know. I have not seen it myself. And until I do, or a trusted source tells me, I'm not going to tell you this actually went through because the devs are not good at their jobs this year, in parentheses, obviously. So hopefully that's working. But honestly, I can't see Mountaineer being very worth it on big giant map anyway. On Rebirth, maybe if you can drop off Prison Roof without dying. So it's worth it in that case, and if you can't, then it's not. Mo Lester with the 99-cent super chat. Thank you.
That's a molester. Yep.
And he put an emoji. So thank you, Mo. All right, moving on. Fix an issue where squad names and icons appeared white in Plunder. Okay. Fix an issue where players were unable to open the attack map during the infill cinematic.
Oh,
Okay.
I actually had this happen to me. like on Tuesday or something we were playing. So yeah, that's cool.
Sure. Fix an issue that would kick players back to the main menu if they open the social menu while attempting to create a custom loadout in a match. Okay. Can I mantle thin or high objects rather than over them now? No is the answer. Fix an issue where reticles would appear darker than intended. I wonder which of those that applies to. So I never noticed anything like that.
Yeah, I wish we would get some more specifics there. Just curious.
Specifics would be bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I knew what they were talking about with the patch notes. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we won't get that this year. Fix an issue that prevented players from duplicating, renaming, or creating custom loadouts while in a match. That's huge. Someone in our Discord, which you should join, by the way, was complaining about this yesterday. He was like, because you can't rename your custom. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is not what this is referring to. This is the whole loadout. I was talking about, which is still not possible, by the way. I was hoping that this was what it applied to, but it's not. The fact that you can't rename your custom gun setups. So if you wanted to have a Rebirth Island, cipher, and then you also wanted a Urzikstan cipher build, I guess you have to remember what position in the list of ciphers yours is, because you can't rename your custom weapons for no reason. And this was possible last year, by the way. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And I hope that helps.
And by the way, so that's two different fixes to creating custom loadouts. This morning, I thought, I'm going to use the compact. So I changed my KSV class that I still had saved to a compact, went in the firing range, used it. I said, this gun is horrific. Never mind. Went back to the main menu. We played a match. I didn't use it. We go back. Out of curiosity, I go to click on the KSV build that I had again, which was now my compact build because I had changed the gun. It was the KSV again.
Yeah.
It just changed back. I mean, we're 6 months into the game, 5 months into the game, and basic shit still doesn't work correctly.
Mm-hmm.
It's so like that would be infuriating if I had set up a loadout that I actually wanted to use. Thankfully, it didn't matter because I wasn't going to use that class, but I'm just like, of course it doesn't work. Of course it changed itself back.
Yeah.
Something that has worked fine for months, for years, just doesn't work this year.
Yeah. One of so many things like that. Yeah. And it's, unacceptable. Obviously unacceptable. But, I mean, here we are. That happened to me yesterday as well. Not yesterday, sorry. It happened to me a couple days ago, though. Because I was trying the AK. By the way, the cope formula did once again prove true. Shit's ass.
Did it?
The AK's ass. Yeah. It's unusable in any configuration. Compensator, silencer, red dot, Jason Armory 2X. Doesn't matter. Not worth using fucking at all. But yeah, I tried it. And then I switched it back to my Cypher. And then it was the AK again. Mm-hmm. And then I actually had to hit my overkill setup. And it was an AK. And I was tremendously bugged. Because, this is something that's worked for years. And 5 months in, this still doesn't work. And this has been a problem since day one. And I don't know why it happens, by the way. There isn't even a jerry-rigged solution that I figured out. Like when you couldn't change your operator skin, there was a jerry-rigged convoluted solution where you'd go into multiplayer, change your operator, then go back to Warzone and change it again, and then it'll stick this time. But in this case, there may or may not be a solution like that. I don't know what it is, though. But, it's day one shit, so of course it doesn't work. This is a Raven 2025 stewarded game. So, anyway, the game looks basically the same, but that's fine. This is a Verdansk waiting room. So now on to news and also upcoming
I was going to say
changes.
one more thing about that.
Okay.
Just another bug that you don't think is that big of a deal, but when players come back for Verdansk and they set up a bunch of gun builds, like, I'm going to try this. People that haven't played for months, maybe not at all this year, maybe they're going to do the thing where they unlock all of the guns for people, who knows? So some guy's setting up his guns. He's going to set a bunch of loadouts up. He's going to play one match of Verdansk. He's going to have so much fun. He's going to say out loud to his friends, oh, we are so back. Verdansk is back. Gets back to the main menu. Guess what? Every fucking custom class is deleted and gone. And it's going to infuriate that person.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that are going to happen. And little stupid things like that will cause people to not play the game anymore when shit like that happens over and over over and over again. But
for sure.
So yeah,
because
that's fun.
I can speak from personal experience. There are many times, I can't think of a recent example, but where it's like, all right, I'm going to try this game. I have very low expectations for it, or I really don't care that much, but I'm going to like boot it up and play it or whatever. If I run into the slightest inconvenience, right click, uninstall on Steam. I am on the razor's edge of just giving up because I barely even think this is worth trying. There are going to be a lot of people like that for Warzone. Mm-hmm. Probably not the people who are super excited to come back, but all of their friends, they are one minor trivial inconvenience away from noping the fuck out. Yeah. And something like your loadouts just resetting, especially when you're some new frog. Like when it happens to me, I play a lot. So I know what gun I want to use and I know what attachments I want to put on it. And I'll do it and what reticle even I want to use if new frogs are going to even be doing that. So I'm going to be able to do it quick. Like, all right, whatever, compensator, Jason Armory, extended mags, obviously, quick draw grip, and whatever, recoil springs or something.
Yeah.
But if you're like new, I could very easily see you going through each and every attachment, comparing them all, trying to figure it out, spending like genuinely 4 minutes doing this, play a game, and then it's just gone. And you're like, dude, I'm not spending another 4 minutes doing this. I don't remember what underbarrel I was using or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah.
And there are just so many other little things like that. Plus there will be lots more when season 3 comes out, as we keep reminding you guys, you can't forget that it is going to be a minefield trying to just simply play the game.
Yeah. A little minefield. That'll happen. Yeah. And breaking news, courtesy of myself, I just did a little check as we were complaining about the game. We've done it, guys. We've absolutely done it. Warzone on Steam has hit the lowest player count of all time.
Oh, no.
Since it started tracking in October of 2022. We are at officially the all-time lowest over a 30-day period. Lower than September of 2023 during Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2. We've
late
done
stage
it, guys.
MW2, by the way.
The lowest player counts since they started tracking on Steam. Yeah. So that's what, 3 years? When did it start?
That is
no, like
something.
two and a half. 2.5 years. So in 2.5 years, we're at the bottom of the barrel. Yeah. We're down there.
Really terrible stuff. Because here's the thing. This game is way better than MW2 if it worked. Actually, like significantly. I would much rather play this game right now than MW2 in 2023 of September. For sure. Yet the player count's even lower. Part of that is because of Game Pass, to be clear. But the fact that it's even close is just unconscionable for how good this game could be if it functioned. Yeah. It's that simple. It's actually that simple. But yeah, and like the game is more functioning now probably than it's ever been.
Yeah.
But it's too late now because you've already lost thousands of players to how much more broken it was in the past, whatever, couple months. People are just gone. And then when they hear, oh, I don't take my pistol out when I'm out of the water anymore, who gives a fuck? That's not going to make me come back. The game was a buggy mess. I left and I'm over it. And now I'm Celestial and Marvel Rivals, so I don't care how good Warzone gets, including Verdansk. I'm not coming back. So they've, dropped the ball once again. I mean, they do this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do this all the time.
And one last thing that just went live, a little tweet from COD Updates. A fix was recently deployed to address an issue that removed the 100-round mag speed penalties from the WSP Swarm and AMR9. And then let me take you right to the patch notes. Here's what they said exactly when they changed this.
Yeah.
Removed, that means remove, movement speed penalties on all. That's all of them. MW2 and MW3 extended magazines. So don't fucking say you addressed an issue. You said in your own fucking patch notes, this is what you intended to do. They don't know what to do ever. They're fucking clueless. Yeah. Anyways, Verdansk is coming though. Things will get better. Yeah, things will surely get better. I'm so glad. That was instantly what I was going to say. Me too. That's the first thing I thought. That wasn't a fucking issue. That was intended, you idiots. Right when you said let's go to the patch notes, I was like, okay, he's got it. Yeah. Yeah, that was exactly their intention. The hilarious part is the one time they write a patch note and they actually do what the patch note says, they have to revert it. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, it's such a mess, bro. It pisses me off just because they're dumb, yeah. Oh, yeah, don't say an issue. Say an unintended consequence or some... Yeah, just whatever. Anyway, they constantly lie. That's it. Lie, obfuscate. Anyway, moving on to newer pastures. I was going to say greener pastures, but I think it'll be a different shade of brown. Verdansk. So, news and upcoming changes. And this is related. Raven tweeted today, about 2 hours ago. You may notice something a little different starting today. Eyeballs emoji. You're not allowed to do emojis when your game fucking sucks. Don't be coy or cute if your game sucks. Be deadly serious always and unbugged. Don't let them write emojis unless the game is good. In preparation for future updates, we will begin intermittently testing 150 players across standard battle royale playlists. Wow. Let's go. We will be closely monitoring player feedback, performance, and overall impact on match flow over the coming weeks. Now, this is really cool, and I want to show you guys something live from the field. Right after this update went live, we got some live playtesters to share some information with us. And as you can see... The QA team. Wait, hold on. This is the Dropshot QA team. Yes. Right after this update went live, we had some on-the-ground reporters send us this screenshot. You'll notice this is unranked Battle Royale quads. The screenshot shows everyone in the plane. So it's the beginning of the match. So no one possibly could have died yet. And the player count before anyone has died is 63. Oh, wow. 63 players. Not 120, certainly not 150, but 63. This is for sure a consequence of them trying to do 150 players. So, of course, because it's a Raven update, it backfired in the worst way possible. And now instead of having more players than normal, because normal was about 110, you have actually half of that number, 63. Okay. The devs fucking suck, and you don't hate them enough. They're incapable, of doing their jobs. How does that happen? Cancel the match if there are 63 players. Obviously, I would have backed out of that immediately. But anyway, why are they doing this is the question. Oh, well, they also tweeted, ranked play will remain unaffected by the increase in player count for the duration of this test. So if you want to play in lobbies of more than 60 people, go play ranked, because you're not getting 150 or even close. You might get a third of it in unranked. So why are they doing this? Well, because of Verdansk. There have been some rumors, and at least the 150 player count rumor seems to have been confirmed. So this is why. Charlie Intel tweeted this a couple days ago. Some content creators playtested builds of Verdansk for Warzone with different map elements, including map traversal elements a few weeks back per sources. The map was similar to OG Verdansk with stadium accessible, but the roof closed.
There have actually been 2 playtests for Verdansk with different builds, sources say. One test late last year and one a few weeks back. They were all focused on feedback for Verdansk. And then following on that, the rumors of Verdansk return to Warzone is that it's set to return with Season 3, which is what our countdown here says. The map is similar to OG Verdansk. The stadium will be accessible inside, but the roof is closed. And then the train returns. So the little train, that's just like the train we have now. And then also part of those leaks were the 150 player count. There are other leaks, and we already talked about this a lot on Patreon. I'll talk about that more at the end of this episode. But that is why they are testing 150 players right now. Excuse me, that's why they wanted to test 150 players right now. It may or may not function in the coming week. We'll see. But they're trying to prepare their servers or infrastructure or whatever to be able to handle 150 players. Will this work? Great question. Here's what I'll say. If they manage to allow 150 players rather than 63 in a Warzone match, then we are going to quickly find out whether or not the servers can even handle it. Are you going to be skipping? Are you going to be stuttering? Are you going to be crashing, disconnecting? Is your hit reg going to be even worse than normal? Or none of those things? My guess is it is going to have a severe negative impact on something related to the server performance that will be tangible for everyone who's playing. And if that happens, that issue will not be fixed by the time Verdansk launches. And then what are they going to do? I don't know. That's a really tough situation if you're Raven. Because now that they've tweeted this publicly, this is basically admitting they want to do 150 players for Verdansk, which is what a bunch of people want, myself included. But if the servers can't handle it, then when Verdansk comes out, well, you can either just not have 150 players and a bunch of people will be pissed, or you can just YOLO, allow 150 players, and then the servers are going to perform terribly, and then people are also going to be pissed. So there's one world in which this will work out well, which is the world where Urzikstan with 150 actually performs fine, or they manage to make it perform fine prior to Season 3 launching. And then when Verdansk comes out, we have 150 players, and it works. I just think that is a fairly slim possibility. Of all the possibilities, something working as intended is not high on my list of likely scenarios. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm unfortunately not too optimistic for 150 players. And it's going to be a letdown when we realize it's not doing well at all. Also, it's kind of... They might have to pivot a lot, because if they planned for 150 and the servers can't handle it, they're going to have to change a lot of things in the game then. Like some of the things they were talking about removing, you know, maybe things like balloons weren't going to be there. If we drop from 150 to 120 for Verdansk, they might have to bring stuff like that back. They might even have to bring gulag tokens back.
Tokens and stuff, yeah.
It might change the game a lot depending on the server test.
Yeah.
So, I'm not too optimistic. I mean, the hit reg this whole year, since it's a Treyarch game, has not felt good. So that's what I'm most worried about, is just the hit reg feeling even worse than it already does. But I'm excited to try Urzikstan on 150, because if any of you forgotten, that was the hot topic early on in Urzikstan. Everyone wanted 150. We were under the impression, we thought, I don't know about 150. That might be too much for the way the game is designed right now. So I was always thinking like 130 might be a good little sweet spot. So it'll be fun to test it and see how it actually plays. Because like today when we were playing, they bought like 6-8 balloons just jumping around the map trying to get other places. You kill one team at a POI and you immediately have to leave the POI to go to another one to find players. So I don't know. It might actually play really well with 150. Might make everyone love the map. Who knows? But I am very interested in seeing how this works. Yeah.
provided the technical issues don't become issues, I think it would be way better 150 on Urzikstan. Because, yeah, it is awfully slow. It is awfully, at least in pubs. In ranked, 120 seems to actually be fine because of all the regain mechanics. But like in pubs, yeah, I think 150 would be better because unranked feels very, very, very slow very often.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, this is assuming two things. Number one, we ever get 150 players in an Urzikstan lobby, which is an open question, because that's something you feel like would work right away. Not do the exact opposite. So how long is that fix going to take? And then also, once we get 150, is the game even going to be playable? Or are you just going to like lag and then disconnect? Or like the server freezing we had early last year, I think. And other things like that. So, the road to actually feeling how 150 on Urzikstan would feel is, I don't know how long it is. Hopefully not very, but I don't even know. But the more important thing is, how that's going to look in Verdansk when we get it.
Yeah. I've messaged our on-the-ground reporters, see if they've gotten a 150 yet, to ask for any intelligence on that.
Yeah. Hopefully we can give you guys an update during this episode, because, I mean, I would love for it to work, so we'll see. But anyway.
Response what was said. They have not gotten one yet. Okay. So, just so we're clear, by the way, it's not every match, guys. That's what they said in the tweet. You would intermittently get them. You might play 8 hours and not get one. I don't know how common it is, but it's been live for over an hour now, and they have not gotten 150 players yet. I was typing away, huh?
Yes. Okay.
So where are we at that one?
So let's see. Today's episode, and I said today and not today's, is brought to you by our Patreon, where we offer our members all of our EPs, early access and ad-free. Starting just $5 a month at Gold, patrons get 3 raw, uncensored Call of Duty bonus episodes every month, and of course every bonus ep we've ever done in the past, and a unique Discord role as well. And more of you patrons gotta join the Discord. It's poppin'. If you've been thinking of joining the Patreon, now is a very good time to do it. I wouldn't say the best. It's probably going to be the absolute best once Season 3 actually launches. But right now, we're kind of in Season 3 / Verdansk preparation mode. So our latest bonus episode, for example, for all patrons, was a Verdansk kind of leaks overview ep. Because there are some things that are basically confirmed as far as Tanner and I are concerned about Verdansk that are not circulating on the timeline, which sounds too hard to believe, but if you listen to the episode, you'll understand what we mean. And some of the things, for example, 150 players are coming back. That's basically confirmed. There are other things. I'm not going to spoil all of it now because obviously I want you to join the goddamn Patreon. But there are other things, probably even more impactful than that we go over in that latest bonus episode. For example, it came out yesterday. And then our next bonus episode, which is going to hit your little ears, patrons, on Saturday, is probably going to be a Verdansk flyover, because whether or not you played Verdansk, it's probably been years since you've looked at it in any great detail, myself included and Tanner. So we're going to do like a flyover of it and then see like, okay, how is this going to play with, you know, the new game, Omni movement, the new mechanics, all of that stuff. So now's a very good time to join the Patreon, especially if you're excited for Verdansk, because that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on until Season 3 with our bonus episodes. And then again, you get ad-free, you get early access, and you're supporting the program. If you want to go above and beyond, you can join at Platinum for $10 a month. You get all that stuff and another bonus ep, which is a Q&A, where you guys can ask the questions and hear the answers. And then Damascus, if you want to be a real Chad, has the Damascus Lounge, which has 1,000 messages a day in the Discord. you get everything from the other tiers, and you get another bonus episode each month, which is a behind the scenes. So if you kind of want to learn about how the Discord, the podcast is run, and kind of the business side of it a lot, and then also just more personal stuff that most people don't care about, but if you're a mega fan, you could do that. And if you hated hearing this ad, there are going to be more of them, but not for our patrons. So go to patreon.com/the Dropshot and sign up, idiot. Let's get back to the program. Moving on from there, some more stuff for Verdansk. The Grau and HDR are potentially returning to Verdansk. Data miners also found references to the Kilo and the AMAX as well. And the original Roze operator skin. So we'll take these in reverse. That Roze operator skin, we talked about this on Patreon, is gonna do numbers in the COD store. 1 billion people are gonna buy that. I don't care, because there are already so many jet black operator skins that who cares if there's another one? It doesn't actually change how the game is played. The problem with the original Roze operator skin was that it was the first super dark operator skin where you just couldn't see people in buildings at all if they had it. Mm-hmm. There are millions now, so like it doesn't really matter if they add yet another one. So I mean, I'd prefer they just have visibility in the game, so it doesn't matter. But that's wishful thinking. And then the new weapons. So the Kilo, the AMAX, and the HDR, I super don't care. Let me be clear. I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. It's going to be a gun that shoots about how you expected. It may look like a gun from a 5-year-old game, but it will feel nothing like that gun because the health totals are different. The recoil's different. The attachments are different. The damage values are different. The damage ranges are different. It doesn't matter. The Kilo is going to feel like a fully automatic assault rifle, and that's it. So it's probably going to have pretty low recoil. It's probably not going to have the fastest time to kill in the game. Okay. You could say that about so many fully automatic assault rifles. Same with the AMAX. It's going to be a full auto AR. Who cares? Same with the HDR. It's going to be a bolt action sniper that one-shots people from far away. Who gives a fuck? None of that I care about at all. However, the Grau is the only exception because it had very good iron sights.
Yeah.
So that is the one characteristic of a gun that will transfer from game to game and be relevant no matter what the health total is or anything. Because really good iron sights means free attachment slot. So if that was true 6 years ago, 5 years ago, that's also going to be true when Verdansk comes out in Season 3. So I think the only thing you should actually find meaningful of these like fan favorite guns returning is specifically the Grau, because that will be like the one AR you get a free attachment slot on, basically. And that will be part of what makes it quite good. Let me also be clear, all 4 of these guns are going to be bonkers overpowered because they're going to have the OG Verdansk bundle that sells, well, they're going to have 8 of them, but they're going to have all these new guns in each bundle, and they are going to want to push the fuck out of those sales. And so these guns are going to be nuts. I'm telling you now, right now, the Season 3 meta is whatever new 2 guns are in the battle pass on the launch of Season 3. You heard it here first. Those are the new meta, period. I guarantee it. I'll take any bet for any amount of money from anyone who wants it at me in Discord. Those will be the meta, provided they function as intended. Because they might say, oh, the Grau's coming out, it's going to do 38 damage up to 70 meters or whatever. But then they release it and it doesn't do that. It does 10 damage. So that is the only way they're not meta, is if they're literally bugged and not working as intended, which is a strong possibility. But if they are going to function as intended, these guns are going to be fucking insanely OP in a way that you have not seen yet this integration. I promise you. I guarantee it.
I
Obviously,
hope I
by
could
the way.
go for an iron sight growl, man. Oof.
Yeah.
I could go for that a lot. HDR too would be cool to do some sniping if it like one shots to 800 meters or something. I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sales for bundles, it's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be absolutely nuts. Yeah. So, anyway, that's kind of it for the Verdansk stuff. So, all of that. Here's the thing. There have been a lot more Verdansk leaks, and we already talked about them a lot on Patreon. So, that episode went live, I think, yesterday for all of our patrons. So we're not going to really go into too much more detail on that topic, other than to talk about, I guess, what's already been brought up, which is the 150 players. That is, if it works, a very good idea, because all of the other leaks that we talked about are going to be, that we talked about on Patreon, we haven't here, are very in line with their desire to make Verdansk feel as similar to the original Verdansk as possible. So, what else did original Verdansk have, for example, that this game doesn't? We talked about it. You can think about what those things could be. You probably figure some of them out, but I don't want to rehash all of that stuff. But getting back into the 150 player count, you do have to change a lot of other things to make that make sense. So, no more gulag tokens, probably. Buybacks might be more expensive. No more flares at all, probably. No redeploy packs. Not that those are in the game now anyway, but they certainly won't be coming back. And making your life matter more and making regaining harder, basically. That is also going to be coming in tandem with that 150 player count, along with a bunch of other things that we went over. So I think that could be a good idea or a very bad one, but it depends on how well they do all the other stuff they intend to do. So if you really want a lot more detail on this, we just did a whole episode about it on Patreon. Get shilled.
Award-winning.
Award-winning, yeah. So
that I've been told.
We'll talk more about that at the end, though. So other than that, a couple other things here. The new belt-fed attachment. So I was wondering where this was. I guess it's now finally out.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to it, but I assume it came out today with a Teenage Mutant collab event going live. I'm not really sure. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. So Warzone Stats GG tweeted, the new belt-fed mag for LMGs is underwhelming in both Warzone and multiplayer. It overheats quickly. So for the XMG, it's in 47 rounds. That is really pretty fast. And the cooldown is too slow. 6.7 seconds.
Yeah. That is a long time.
Insane. Yeah.
And it is like 500 round mag or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it defeats the entire purpose.
Another useless attachment. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can just reload a 200 round mag faster than 6.7 seconds. So I'd rather shoot 200 bullets and then have to wait a couple seconds than 47. Obviously. But the devs don't play the game or have a brain. So I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. But if you want to get into the article or whatever, go ahead.
Yeah, let's get into this article actually. So we have a skill-based matchmaking article here from Tom Henderson at insider-gaming.com. I have not read this yet, but I saw some people talking about it. I'm assuming, honestly, it's not a whole lot of useful information, but we'll skim through it here. So, title interview, I sat down with a developer behind Call of Duty's skill-based matchmaking. Early this month, I attended a 2025 DICE Summit. Okay, an annual event that sees industry's executive, blah, blah. Okay, let's scroll past that. One of my favorite conversations at the event, though, was on the 4 letters that strike fear in any good player plays multiplayer games, SBMM. those who don't know, I started off this unorthodox journey into journalism as a Call of Duty YouTuber who thrived. Yep. Finding ways to get around SBMM was always a part of my gaming routine. And when I had the opportunity to speak with Charlie Olson, a veteran software programmer who spent nearly a decade at Raven Software in 2 stints and wrote the matchmaking rating algorithm, MMR, for COD's SBMM system, it was an offer I couldn't refuse. So the guy originally wrote the algorithm for China's Call of Duty Online in 2015, got it, with algorithm making its way into its first mainline entry in 2016's Infinite Warfare. It's a system that has been there ever since, with the matchmaker itself becoming more sophisticated over the years, but Olson's rating algorithm remaining essentially unchanged. He left Raven in 2020. Okay. One thing is for certain, SBMM is not going away in Call of Duty and arguably any other live service game that wants to be successful. I wanted to address the elephant in the room when it came to COD's SBMM white paper and its legitimacy, because as we all know, there's always a sense of doubt when a giant company tries to be transparent. True. When asked, Olson told me that the white paper is accurate and he can attest to it based on his own analysis of COD and other games. Live service games need SBMM and SBMM needs matchmaking rating, MMR. He said, he continued to explain that both are needed to ensure long-term sustainability and player engagement, which are both crucial components to ensuring. Okay, so far this is nothing meaningful at all. Let me just keep skimming through this. Sometimes you stomp, sometimes you get stomped. Blah, blah. He used Xdefiant as an example of churn-based matchmaking and explained that although Xdefiant had team balancing, people don't like being the weak link repeatedly, and high-skill players don't like carrying a team of potatoes. Yep, he thinks SBMM is needed. Shocking. The massive problem with SBMM, though, is that you don't know what league you're in anymore. SBMM takes away the sense of skill and mastery. There's less skill feedback. Stats don't matter as much. KD is less of a bragging right. It's a serious design problem, really. If you're trying to get better at the game, SBMM just rewards you with tougher opponents. I'd even say that SBMM punishes players for being good. That's unfair, and players are right to complain about it. So he says all this, but then he thinks it's good still? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me at all either. Yeah. I haven't read this article
there's actually,
either, by the way.
There's really not anything real important here, actually. I'm scrolling through it. It's all the same stuff we continue to hear.
The problem with SBMM, as far as I'm concerned, is there is no transparency about it, number one. Number two, if we have a ranked mode, why do we need SBMM? And number three, and most importantly, they released that stupid white paper where they were like, oh, by the way, connection is king. Connection's king, guys. The reason we do matchmaking, or the primary thing for matchmaking, is connection. There are other factors, and skill is one of 7 or 6, but it's just one of them, and it's not that impactful. Well, that's just not true at all, obviously. When I queue with 2 people into quads, or I queue with 4 people into quads, the caliber of players I'm playing against is actually so dramatically different that it's hard to describe to you guys. I mean, duo quadding, you are playing against total shit can burgers. People don't know what the fuck's going on. Easy farms, just simple. But then if you queue with 4 people into quads and the people you're queuing with are good, you're in nightmare lobbies. You're in nightmare quad stacking level 900 plus lobbies in every single match. So wait, if there are 6 factors, then why is every lobby only determined by who I'm playing with or how many people I'm playing with? Yeah. Well, actually, it's because skill is obviously the number one only consideration, if you're a high skill player, that they make at all, fucking at all, I should say. But they lie about that. And that bugs the fuck out of me. And again, hey, if you have a ranked mode, why the fuck do you have SBMM also? Stop it. Do one or the other. Do neither. Well, do the ranked mode only, but also make it work, which it doesn't. Cheaters.
Yeah.
That's my big problem with it. And I think somewhere in here he said, let me try and find it. I thought I had seen a tweet about this where I thought maybe it wasn't this guy, but he said like, 50% of players would quit playing if there's no SBMM. Like, hey.
I don't know if that was in the article or not.
It's not in this article. I just searched for the word quit.
Okay.
So maybe it was some other guy that said it. But whoever said that, hey, did you look at the Steam player counts lately? A lot more than 50% have already fucking quit. I mean, we've beaten SBMM to death. But I think, especially now, with how old Warzone is, the proportion of players who are skilled is a lot bigger than it used to be. So the argument once was like, oh, the people that SBMM negatively affects is only like 2% of the player base. So fuck them anyway. If they quit, then, but it helps everyone else, then it's a net good because we'll have more players. Well, now the skilled player base is like 10 to 15%. So if SBMM is negatively impacting that many players and they all stop playing because the game isn't fun, because there are cheaters in all their lobbies, because again, the only people that see cheaters are in high SBMM brackets. You're good players. Because if you're fucking cheating, you're going to perform really well and you're going to be in high SBMM lobbies. And if that becomes 10, 15, 20% of your player base and they all fucking quit, well, now it's a big deal, actually. And maybe you shouldn't have done SBMM, or certainly not as strict as it is now. Another issue is, again, the transparency. Not only do I not know what my hidden MMR is, I also don't know anyone else's hidden MMR in my lobbies or not in my lobbies.
Yeah.
Because they took away that API thing. That was like our one kind of thing we could do back in Caldera. You go to that goofy website, you put in your Activision ID and it says, oh, this lobby average KD is like 1.1. And you're like, oh, based, this lobby's fantastic. That's actually like a decent, slightly better than average lobby. But I remember sometimes we'd get like 1.7, 1.8 mean average KD lobby. That's nuts. That's really high. Given that the average KD is like 0.88 or 0.85 or something, because you can kill yourself in game.
Yeah.
So that lowers it from 1. But then other times you get lobbies that are, 0.8, 0.9, and you're going to have a blast. Those were fairly rare, unless you VPN'd, if you were good. But yeah, like now I don't even know anything. I know nothing. There just is SBMM. That's all I know. So there are so many bullshit things about it. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. Did you find anything else interesting in this article?
No, that's it. Yeah, it wasn't much going on.
I just looked at it. This bugs me. Contrary to what some players believe, you really don't have to try your hardest every match. If you go off meta, your MMR will adapt after a few bad games and matches will get easier. Hey, Tanner, do you remember in our camo grind episodes where we specifically pointed this out by saying, hey, when you're trying to get your riot shield gold, don't try and hack away at it one match a day for a week because you're going to be in nuts SBMM. You have to just equip the riot shield, keep trying for 5 games in a row, and you're going to get shit on so hard, your hidden MMR will eventually kick you down to the disabled lobbies where you can actually get 3 kills in a row or whatever.
Yep.
You have to just stick with it. We were exploiting exactly what he just said. If you go off meta or extremely off meta, like using a riot shield on shipment, your MMR will adapt after a few bad games and matches will get easier. The exception would be when you're playing low population modes that attract high skill players or during open betas.
He says, like Domination, a game mode. Oh, that's Tom saying that, not the dev.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, yeah. That bugs me also, though. Like, hey, what if I like using meta guns and I don't want to be playing against grits every single game? I can just go fuck myself. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's really bad stuff. We have talked about SBMM so goddamn much on this podcast, but it was years ago. And it is so obviously not changing at this point that it really is. It's beating a dead horse and it's also beating an unchanging horse. So what do you want me to say? You know, like Activision devs lie. There are probably some lies in here if we read this whole article to you, which we won't. We're not going to waste your time. And SBMM sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure does.
Anyway. I want to do a little more skimming here, though, before we sign off on this.
Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. I forgot how boring it is to talk about SBMM until we started reading this. I'm like, yeah, I don't even know. I should have just skimmed the article before because it's boring.
Yeah, and then, so something Tom says here. What's clear, friend of the pod, by the way, Tom Henderson's based insider-gaming.com. Give it some love. This guy is one of the few reputable leakers in this scene who also has some integrity. What's clear is that SBMM and COD, he says, is likely never going to go away. Exactly. They are fundamental systems to keep a game alive and thriving by keeping players around, and has become even more apparent recently. Following Activision's clampdown on VPNs and patching SBMM get-around methods like two-boxing. So...
did you notice easier lobbies yesterday playing with Bates? Or did he just get shit slammed?
No, he just got fucking run over repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that, of course, nobody ever
He
talks
was dead
about
like most of all the games. Yeah.
Is the friend group situation. How you can't play with a lot of friends. Because they'll either
That's one of the biggest things
get destroyed.
too.
That's the worst thing of all. So
yeah, exactly. Like I have some friends I play Call of Duty with, like, you know, Jake, Cope, Lag, you. And we're all, I mean, I'm the lowest ED ratio at like you or me, actually. I don't know. We're close. Like 3.4-ish. But if we ever want to play with anyone else, strap in. There are cheaters regularly, so you're just going to have to put up with that. And you've probably never seen a cheater before if your ED ratio is 1.3. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you've actually probably never seen a cheater before. So even if you if you get in a gunfight, your first gunfight in our lobby, you're going to lose. You're just going to. Because either the guy's legit and he's a 3 or 4 plus. Okay, you're going to get omni movement slide cancel shit slammed easily, or it's going to be a cheater and you or none of us are going to have a chance against the guy. And it's just not fun at all. You're just constantly dead and I don't get to play with my friends anymore. So that's another thing too. When Verdansk comes back, oh cool, our friend Ben is going to come back. He's never slide canceled in his life. And then he's going to play his first game. He has no ratio, but he's going to be playing with me, Tanner, and Cope. Okay, guess what kind of lobby we're going to get put into?
Yeah.
A shit slam supreme lobby. Ben's not going to have any fun, and then he's never going to play again. He'll never play again. He'll be totally turned off. He's going to think, oh, everyone's too good. Because he doesn't read fucking articles on SBMM, and he doesn't realize, okay, well, if he queued by himself, he'd have a much easier time, but also, he doesn't want to play Warzone by him fucking self. Obviously, he wants to play with his friends. SBMM does not allow you to do that. There are so many problems with it. I've actually like forgotten all the things I hate about it, but that's definitely one of them that I forgot about. And Bates was a perfect example. Bates is like one of our listeners, friend of the pod, shout out Bates, but he's an average player. Nothing wrong with that. Most people are average players. But when we played with him, I don't think he had much fun. I don't know. I mean, we can ask him. Maybe it was fun, just the friends you make along the way or whatever, but he was just dead most of the game, or we'd buy him back and then he would just die again a lot. Not his fault.
Yeah.
The game's fault. So I don't know. If you just have connection-based matchmaking, the hit reg feels better. Everyone's connection is more secure, less laggy, less dying behind walls, and you've run into a variety of players. Because that's another thing too. When we duo quad, it is almost everyone's dog shit in the lobby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's like kind of fun, but that also kind of gets old. Just easily running everyone over. I would or if you 4Q into quads, everyone's insane. What I would much prefer is like some teams are good, some teams are average, some teams have their thumbs up their asses. That's interesting and fun. And it encourages people to get better too, because like this guy said, you're punished for getting better. So, well, you can just use off-meta shit and you won't be playing as good against as good of players. That doesn't solve the problem. Because then I eventually come down to worse matchmaking, but then I do as well as I would be doing with meta stuff, except it would be against better players. So I'm not going to be performing better. I'm just going to be having different guns and performing exactly the same. It's not a solution.
91 players and 84 players in back-to-back lobbies, by the way.
Got it.
So 150 players, guys. Yeah. Yeah, it's not working.
Classic. So anyway, cool stuff there. Your SBMM at work. All right, so some other things here before we sign off. Call of Duty cheat providers 2Second and Tomware have stopped selling cheats.
Yes. I know who that is.
After receiving a cease and desist letter from Activision. Based. Good. We talked about this fairly recently, and this is what I said. The one effective anti-cheat measure I think Activision can actually do competently is going the legal route and just going right to the source and suing all of the cheat providers. That is the one anti-cheat thing they could do that I actually believe could work. And they're continuing to do that. Now, who the fuck is 2Second and Tomware? I don't know, but their combined 10 total customers will no longer be aimbotting you in your lobbies. So it's a start, I guess. Let's send one of these letters off to Engine Owning's headquarters. Let's fire one off to some other popular, that's the only one I know, cheat provider. And that would be what we really want. But you can start with the mom and pop cheat shops, I guess. Sure.
Well, they did shut down Engine Owning, remember? And it didn't matter.
I do vaguely remember this. Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't matter at all. Yeah. So it won't. They'll just have new websites tomorrow and it'll be right back up. But
you think so?
I don't know.
You think
it shows they're doing something. Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we originally talked about that, I think the big problem with this route, especially, is if you are targeting a cheat provider that's not in the United States, good luck. How you gonna, if I'm in Brazil, what are you gonna do, Activision? Take me to court? Extradite me for an anti-cheat? Like, right. There's no, it's not happening. Like, you're not shutting me down. If I'm in any other country, like, it's just not happening. But if they're American cheat companies, I think they actually could do a reasonable job. I don't know. I'm way out of my depth there. So anyway, this one was funny. Tweeted a couple days ago from Charlie Intel. Activision has now confirmed that some in-game content in COD is in fact AI generated. This is because Steam now requires video game developers or publishers to disclose if they use AI or not. And since Activision does, they had to put that little disclosure in their Steam page. So yes, Call of Duty does use AI sometimes. Who the fuck cares? Not me. But if any of you were certain they did or didn't, you now have confirmation they do.
Some guy's so happy to hear this. Yeah, he's very happy.
As if it wasn't obvious, by the way, which is what we've been saying for a long time.
I mean, it's obvious they use it for certain things, but you know, there are like a lot of people that like genuinely think that the entire like Urzikstan is like literally just AI generated. It's like, well,
that's not true. Yeah.
It's like obviously they use things to help them, but you can't just think that the whole game is literally AI generated.
That's so dumb. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there are insane people like that, but yeah.
There are. Yeah. And for what it's worth, I support using AI because like hey, I need to design a crane asset. Do I really give a fuck if the guy like sat down and got his little stylus out and drew the fucking crane himself? Or if he typed a prompt in to fucking whatever, Midjourney, and was like, hey, give me a crane, and then takes that image and edits it. One of those things takes 10% of the time as the other. Yeah. And the crane at the end is going to be basically the same fucking crane. Who cares? So I want the one that does it faster because I want more content. Yeah. And for the devs to spend their time more, hopefully, not that they would do this, but hopefully, on making the fucking game function. So you should be pro AI, especially now. I mean, AI is only getting better, so don't care. But and then this last tweet is fun and exciting.
This was just fun.
How did you find this?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't following the guy, but
just recommended to you.
But somebody must have liked it or responded to it.
This bothers
from some
me.
guy, Moy Para. Okay, he says, first 2 weeks completed at Infinity Ward, and honestly, it's been reinvigorating. Everyone has been incredibly welcoming. Heart. There's so much work to be done, and I'm here for it. Most importantly, and he put that in bold, by the way, we're cooking ... Oh, we're cooking chef hand. I believe
Wink
you.
Face.
I believe an Infinity Ward dev when they tell us that they're cooking. Yeah, this will end well for sure. Yeah, I just thought it was. I just always think it's funny to see Infinity Ward devs saying, "Oh, we're cooking, guys." Just shut up. Don't fucking say a word until your game launches. Give me 2 weeks to play it, and then I'll decide. Because you haven't cooked for a while.
They haven't cooked for 10 years. Like, yeah, it's been a long time. This is funny. Yeah, I have the tweet pulled up on the screen here. But, I mean, it's replete with emojis. We've got a winking face. We've got a fire emoji. I mean, it looks like it was tweeted by legitimately a 17-year-old girl. So this is the type of person who works at Infinity Ward and is excited about it. This is an animation director, to be fair. So
yeah, this person's probably cooking.
I was going to say, this guy specifically, or them, probably is cooking. Because animations is one of the very few things Infinity Ward actually does super well. I think they are the best at animations. Their reload animations, their weapon firing animations, all look really good, actually. True. So maybe that guy is cooking. And if by we're cooking, he means the animation department, I'll believe that tweet. If he means the studio as a whole, I do not believe that tweet. In parentheses, obviously. The next Infinity Ward game will fucking suck a lot. It'll be a disaster. It's probably going to function exactly as they intend it to. And exactly the way they intend it to is a disaster. Terrible intentions that are bad and not good for the game. See Warzone 2 as my latest example of Infinity Ward trying to cook. So keep that in mind. But anyway. Yeah, that's about it. I hate to say it, but that's about it. So we do have some announcements. First of all, we got a new gold patron, Noah K. Welcome, idiot, to the Patreon, patreon.com/thedropshot. Speaking of the Patreon, as we've been alluding to, we did just do a bonus episode talking more about the Verdansk leaks stuff. And as we've been alluding to, 150 player count was one of the leaks we kind of found 2 days ago before this Raven tweet came out. So we were right about that. Among a lot of other ones that are pretty nuts. I'm not going to spoil it because I want more patrons. But there were other things like 150 players. We talked about all of them, how that might look, what the consequences might be. Tanner's optimistic. I am deeply unsure. If you want details, go listen to the latest Patreon episode. And that's available to all our patrons at any tier. So you could go join and get the download on that. And then, I hate that I just said that. Don't let people say get the download on something. I don't know why I said that. And I apologize. Also, we're going to be doing another bonus episode tomorrow. And we're going to release it tomorrow as well. I think what we should do, Tanner and I are going to talk about it, is a flyover of Verdansk. I want to do that. We could maybe
Instead
do
of like
something
a
else.
brainstorm or something. Yeah.
But we will see. Maybe even both of those things. But I am getting quite excited for Verdansk as well. Not because I think it's going to work flawlessly, but because it'll be something very different. Especially now that we learned about all those leaks. Even more different than just a new map. A lot more different than just a new map. So I'm excited for it, come what may. And we're probably we want to talk more about that as much as we can before it actually drops. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe we should take advantage of the hype and do that.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what we'll do. So if you want to learn more about Verdansk, and a flyover sounds dumb, by the way, but listen, you guys, even if you loved Verdansk, you haven't looked at it or played it in like 4 years. So you don't remember what the map is like or all of it. I certainly don't. So that could be of some use to you. And plus, we're going to talk about, this area. What do we think they'll change with it? Where's the repels going to go? How will that play? How's that going to look? Imagine hospital with Omni movement, and then we'll look at where it is and see. I'm excited to do that. And then last announcement here. This Saturday is episode 500 celebration. It's going to be in the evening. We're going to talk about whatever we want. It's going to be a live event. So we'll put it on podcast apps. We'll try to make it entertaining to listen to, but it's going to be mainly for being there live. Like hearkening back to the good old days when everyone was locked in their houses and most of our listeners were here live. Lock me up. That's what I always say.
Lock me up and spank me. That's what I like.
Well, stop the spread is what I was going to say, but Tanner wants to do a spread, it sounds like, which is fine if you're into that. It's not. But yeah, episode 500 on Saturday. It's going to be fun. It's going to be in the evening, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Be there.
Yeah.
I've got some bourbon. I got some, what did I get? Oh, Elijah Craig, I think. Yeah. Elijah Craig, little tiny batch.
Yeah, that little smaller option.
The miniature batch, yes.
Yeah.
So it should be fun and exciting.
By the way, if anyone's here live, not a patron, Ben gifted a gold for 1 month, and he put the link in YouTube chat. So if somebody clicks on that.
Ben? Based Benjamin.
You can get a free Patreon membership for a month.
Extremely based. Thank you, Ben. Very kind of you, big dog.
Whoever gets it first.
Head mod. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm excited for that Verdansk ep. I'm excited for Verdansk because it's gonna be fucking crazier than just 150 players and Verdansk, as we talked about. So, Activision devs do not play their own game, and it's really obvious.
Fuck no.